welcome to Would I Lie to You, the show in which it pays to be economical with the truth. On Lee Mack's team tonight, an athletic superstar who in 2000 was given the freedom of Wolverhampton. Gift or punishment, you decide. It's Denise Lewis. And the star of Judge Rinder, who once appeared on Strictly dressed as a moth. A beautiful performance, although he did keep banging his head on the studio lights. It's Robert Rinder. And on David Mitchell's team tonight, a TV presenter who's hosted over 1,000 episodes of his pointless show. I know how he feels. It's Richard Osman. And a comedian and presenter who had to leave her native Canada as she'd already been on both of their TV shows. It's Catherine Ryan. And so we begin with round one, Home Truths, where our panellists each read out a statement from the card in front of them. Now, to make things harder, they've never seen the card before. They have no idea what they'll be faced with. And it's up to the opposing team to sort the fact from the fiction. Richard, you're first up tonight.
When I worked in a shoe shop, my boss was called Mr. Clog. Remarkably, I've had 3 other jobs where my boss's name was directly related to their profession.
What? The obvious question to ask is, what were those jobs and what were these people's names?
Yeah, it is an obvious question. Is it maybe too obvious a question? Maybe go somewhere else first, just...
I want to know about the first. Just tell us one of the jobs.
At school, I worked in a warehouse and the boss was called Mr. Foreman.
Mr. Foreman? OK. And what was your job? Getting stuff down from the top shelf,
yes.
Obviously.
How would you rate Foreman as a boss? If he was suspicious, would he grill you?
Foreman? Yeah, listen. Very good.
Okay. Why did you have so many jobs? Did you keep getting sacked?
No further questions.
What were the other 2 jobs?
Yeah, what was the other jobs?
I worked in... Do you remember the predecessor to Iceland, which was B-Jam?
Yeah.
My supervisor was called John Frost.
Frost, B-Jam. You can see why B-Jam didn't last, because people will go, why don't they just call it honey? Your final job was?
Well, it was my first ever job in television.
And that was?
It was a researcher on a computer games programme.
OK, and your boss is called?
My boss is called Tony Verrill.
What does Verrill mean? In relation to
what do you mean? It's a surname, but his initials were TV.
Of all these bosses that you remember, Richard, who would you say was your favourite boss? What was it about that boss that made them so
John
adorable?
Frost wasn't really my boss, so I liked him. We had a bit more of a relationship. Mr. Foreman, I found that was quite stressful. It was one of my first ever jobs. And Tony Verrill still works in the industry, so I will not be passing comment.
Tony Verrill still works in the industry. I've never come across him.
Yeah, I've not come across Tony.
Have you come across him, David?
Yeah, I think I've worked with Tony.
Verrill?
Sure, not 100%, but yeah.
Do you know who Tony Verrill is?
No.
Tony Verrill?
No, never heard of him.
It's weird that none of us 3 have heard of Tony Verrill, and yet all you 3 have heard of Tony Verrill.
Catherine
hasn't.
Catherine has or hasn't?
I haven't, but it rings a bell.
Oh, so you...
What do you think, truth or lie?
Truth or lie?
Well, the thing is, I think you're almost certainly sort of geeky enough to keep a record of that sort of thing, and it's the type of thing that would amuse you. And you'd remember at the time. On the other hand, it's also the type of thing that you could quickly construct to be clever. It's a challenging one.
What do you think?
Lie?
Yes, I think so.
We'll have to say lie.
You'll say lie. OK.
Just because of Tony Verrill.
Richard, truth or lie?
It is a lie.
Yes, it's a lie. Richard's never worked in a shoe shop with Mr. Clog. Denise, you're next.
Mine says possession.
Ah, OK. Under your desk is a box. If you take the object out of the box first and then read the card, please.
This is my lucky mascot. When competing, I always made sure he travelled in an unzipped bag so he could poke his head out and breathe.
David's team.
What's his name?
His name's Egbert.
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 And when did you acquire Egbert?
About the age of 14.
I noticed you said that you'd keep the zip open so he could breathe, which is very caring and lovely. But, of course, ever since the show started, he's been in that box with the lid. The lid.
Don't worry, Denise, you'll be all right.
So when did you first take it? So presumably he brings you luck in sporting endeavour.
I think it was just companionship. You know, I'm an only child, and travelling, you know, as a junior athlete on my own, it can be a bit lonely.
I can understand why, you know, it's nice to have familiar objects, but at the age of 14, that's quite late to get a teddy bear. I wasn't given any cuddly toys at that age, and I was very...
So clear to anybody watching that you were never given a cuddly toy at that or any age.
Have you ever put any of your gold medals around his neck and taken a photograph? If I had a gold medal, I'd put it around everything and take a picture.
Oh, what a horrible image that is. All right, time to decide.
No.
Truth or lie?
I would suspect it's true.
You think true? What do you think?
I don't think it's true because when Mr. Lee Mack was sort of resuscitating the bear, Denise wasn't too bothered about that.
Well, let's say lie.
You're going to say lie.
We'll say
it's
lie.
A lie. Denise Lewis, truth or lie?
It's true!
Yes, it's true. Denise did keep the zip open so that Egbert could breathe. Our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. Now, this week, each of Lee's team will claim it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest. It's up to David's team to spot who's telling the truth. So please welcome this week's special guest, Edward. Robert, what is Edward to you?
This is Edward, and I had such a crush on him at school that for the past 20 years, his name has been the basis for all of my passwords.
So, Denise, what is Ed to you?
This is Edward, and he helped me pick up my car and move it after I got blocked in by Daley Thompson.
And finally, Lee, what is your relationship with Edward?
This is Edward. I once dressed up as his wife so that his son would think that he'd seen his mum in the audience at the school play.
So, there we have it. Is Edward Robert's childhood crush, Denise's car carrier, or Lee's hoax husband? David's team, where to begin?
Robert. So were you school buddies together?
Not especially because Edward was terribly good at sport, you see. I seem to remember Edward being terribly good at the pole vault.
How are you still in touch with Edward?
We're not. I haven't seen Edward for a number of years.
How is he doing, do you think? Would you still?
Can I just say that as my fake husband, I have.
I'd say he's definitely moved into a new bracket. But a very happy one.
Yeah.
Yes, he's doing very well, I'd say. You know, very, very well indeed.
Now, you said you haven't seen him for a number of years.
No, a number of years.
Specifically, when was the last time you saw him?
The last time I would have seen him would probably be 1993 or 94.
1993 or 4?
But there wasn't the need for passwords until around the year 2000.
Well, yes, but they then came in, and I thought, what would be more marvellous than having Edward as the basis of my passwords?
Is he still the basis of your password?
No comment. What I will say is that I spent a long time when I was bored looking for him on Facebook and that sort of thing. And on one occasion, I found him and messaged him, and there was no reply. And I was very
that's
upset
horrible.
about that. And I always wondered what happened to him. And now I see.
I'm struggling with this because this is a thing that is done. I had a crush on a boy in school, and his name is the basis for my passwords as well. And I've been trying to stalk him on Facebook, but he doesn't exist. He's not on Facebook, which makes him even sexier. But I'm saying this is...
So you've got that exact story?
Very plausible. Yeah, this is my story. His name's Luke Mate. Do you know him?
Yes.
You know
Luke?
No, you
Mate?
don't. Because he was
Yeah,
like...
he lives 2 doors down from me. Single, newly single.
No.
Yeah. He works for Médecins Sans Frontières. He's a human rights lawyer, but works with them. But he takes 6 months of the year off because he runs a place for distressed puppies. He's a good guy. You know what? I literally just set him up with someone last week. That's so annoying. How frustrating. Great guy, hell of a guy.
All right, who would you like to...
Very plausible.
Who would you like to quiz next?
Denise, explain what happened with Edward in the car and Daley Thompson.
Yes, so I was parked in the car park at a stadium.
Which stadium?
Birmingham, Alexander Stadium in Birmingham. And
Which car park? So, like, you had
just
to...
VIP.
Okay.
It's probably the Denise Lewis car park.
I mean, to be fair, if you own a car in Birmingham, you're automatically a VIP anyway.
Why are you clapping? So I'm in the car park, went off to work, had a big national championships, came back out, desperate to get back down to London, and my car was blocked in.
That was Daley Thompson.
That was Daley Thompson.
Yeah. Well, hang on. How do we know that? Let's take it straight. What happens next?
Well, Eddie, he's an official.
Right.
You know, he used to be an athlete. You can see he's well stacked.
What was his sport?
He was actually a thrower.
Of what?
Discus.
Sorry,
Discus.
are you actually... You're a BBC commentator and you called him a thrower.
A thrower. So he's a thrower of the incredibly heavy frisbee.
Yeah, he used to compete
Yeah.
national level.
OK.
Didn't quite
Yeah.
make it.
Yeah.
Didn't quite make it. It's not
right, he
easy
is
to get to
here.
the top.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
That's
And
such a
so-
show-off thing to do.
Well, I'm sorry.
Just, you know,
I'm
it's
just
actually
saying.
really, really hard to be an amazingly good athlete. Some people can do it, some people can't do it. Eddie, I'm
But-
sorry.
So there you are, Denise. You're blocked in. Edward is there because he's an official. He used to throw things. When does Daley come into it?
Well, his has a private registration plate, and I didn't notice
He's one
that.
of those people,
Yes.
Daley... What does it say?
DT10.
DT10, of course.
DT10.
Of course.
Clever.
Said to Eddie, I need to get out of here quickly.
Yes.
Can you help?
Yes.
He said, let me go and get some of these other throwers. They said, listen, if we manoeuvre this car, swing the back out a little bit, you should be able to manoeuvre around Daley's car.
So you never met... I'm sure you have met Daley Thompson, but he never turned up during the anecdote.
Couldn't find him anywhere. But it's only when I came back to the car did I realise it was his car because of the number plate.
But you were looking for him before that. Just to reiterate, the person I need to talk
You
to
need
now
to-
is
you
Daley
need-
Thompson, because if there's someone who understands a parking crisis, it's him.
Can I just check if you two met, because you need a really good defence lawyer?
No, I do. Can you continue?
Yes, please do.
So Eddie came to my aid
Yeah,
and helped me manoeuvre the car,
yeah.
and away I went.
Away you went, and Daley Thompson turned up presumably later.
I don't know, because I didn't see him.
You didn't see him.
Have you
but
seen him since?
Yeah.
Yes.
And have you mentioned this story to him?
Yes.
And, OK, that checks out.
What did he
what
say?
you can do. Yeah, that's
What
the
did he say?
Yeah.
Oh, shut up.
He said, "Oh, shut
Yeah.
up."
Listen, I've known Daley a long time. One of the first things he said to me at the age of 14,
Yeah.
he
Just
called
look
me...
after this bear.
All right, now, of course, perhaps the most plausible of all is yet to... Just remind us, Lee.
This is Edward. I once dressed as his wife, so his son would think he'd seen his mum
Right.
whilst performing in the school play.
What was the play?
It was actually a nativity play.
OK. And what was Edward's son playing?
Edward's son was playing Joseph.
Were your
Excellent.
children in the play?
My children were not in the play. It would have been inappropriate due to the fact that they don't go to that school.
So you went to a school where your children are not enrolled, dressed as a woman,
Well, correct.
to trip trick a little boy into thinking you were his mum.
Yeah. Yeah, I admit, when you say it like that, it does sound a bit dodgy.
Let's go back, Lee. Let's go back to the beginning. How did this come about? How did Edward approach you?
So Edward was at the school, and then apparently he got a phone call off his wife saying that she couldn't make it. Now, his wife had already missed 3 or 4 big events. You know, all the big ones that are important, like the sports days and the various things. And this was sort of like, I promise you I'm going to be there. I promise you I'll do this one. So
Why wasn't she there?
Well, something to do with work, something got
What's her work?
I didn't get a chance to get into too many details. Edward rang in a panic. Absolutely panicking he was.
What's her job?
What's the wife's job?
Yes.
I actually don't know his wife very well.
But,
Do you know him?
Well, but
I know Edward, yeah.
You're the first person he'd call, though, but you don't know his...
That's right, because me and him do lots of things behind his wife's back, and he knows that...
So he rang you up,
Yeah.
and what did he say?
He was panicking. They went, Lee! I went, what? He said, she's not turned up again. I said, who? He said, my wife. I said, what does she do for a living? He said, not now. He said, I need your help and I need it quickly.
Yeah.
I said, you know me, I'll always be there for you. He says, I need you to meet me at my house. So I get to the house,
there.
I run in the house,
Yeah.
and he only had time for one phrase. Put this on. He said, I need you to dress as my wife, because last time I went to see him in a play, she didn't turn up. And I said, but you saw me, right? And he said, the kid said, no, I didn't see you, because the spotlights are so bright. Everyone's just like a silhouette. So, he said, that's how I think you can get away with this. I want you to dress as my wife, and then when he looks out, he'll think that you're with me.
Did he notice your beard?
Now, this is the thing. I said that. Now, as luck would have it, I don't know what his wife does, but she has a beard. I know she works in a circus. But I don't know exactly what she does.
That was very well dodged, Lee, I must say.
No, she... At the time, I did not have a beard.
Oh, you were clean-shaven?
Yes,
Yeah.
which is why he was annoyed, because, like I say, she does.
Did you...
Does she have a very distinctive silhouette?
She does. I would describe her silhouette as Lee Mack-esque. It's the only way I could describe her.
Did you have to wear a wig?
No, I didn't wear a wig, because luckily his wife has very short hair.
And a beard.
And a beard.
So you just went with your head
Just went with...
shaven,
I just went with her silhouette look. With a hat, scarf,
But what did you wear? But you haven't told us...
Nice one, Jesus!
You haven't told us what you put on in your friend's bedroom.
He had all the things were about... all
What,
the clothes.
he got a range for you to choose from? Pick out something nice that you fancy.
He had it ready for me when I got there. He said, this is what we could get... This is the stuff that the kid would recognise. So we went with a long Macintosh.
What's Edward's son called?
Edward's son is called Eddie.
That was a bad choice.
Yeah, well, Little Ed.
And then after the play, that lovely bit where the kids excitedly go and meet with their parents again and say, how was it?
That was the bit that we were worried about. Well, I had to do... there was only one thing that we could do. I said to him, you're going to have to totally commit to this. And so we're now married. We adopted him and we ran away, and the wife doesn't know where we are, and this is the first time she would have known about it. No, we stood at the back, and as he walked towards us, I sort of turned around, walked quickly, and sort of waved like that. And he
You
said,
ran away from him?
Yes. What choice did I have? And apparently, Big Ed said to me afterwards, he said, I just had to say, oh, Mummy's got to get back quickly. She's well, I don't know what she does for a living. He didn't know either.
All right, we need an answer. So, David's team. Is Edward Robert's childhood crush, Denise's car carrier, or Lee's hoax husband?
Well, it's...
Well, I mean, Lee was fairly convincing. Hard to see past that, isn't it?
What do you think?
I feel like when Denise was telling her story, Edward was smiling a little bit more. Look at him. Look at his... See?
Gosh, it's difficult, isn't it? I'm tempted to say Robert.
You think Robert? And
I'm really torn. I would say Denise, but I just don't know, because I was wrong once already.
OK,
Yeah.
time to make a
Shall we say
decision,
Denise?
David. Who's it going to be?
Oh, right. So you think it's Denise now? If you two think it's Denise, that's great. I can opt out. If you both think it's Robert, that's great. I can opt out. If you both think it's Lee, I'm overruling you. We'll go Robert.
You're going to say it's Robert. If this does turn out to be true, you do realise we're about to witness quite a moment. So, Edward, would you please reveal your true identity?
I am Edward, and I was Robert's
Whoa!
inspiration for a password.
Would you like to say anything to Edward, Robert?
I could dress up as you and fill in. I'm betrayed.
What would you like to say to him? Here's your chance.
Yes, yeah. Hello, Edward.
Hi.
Well done. You really kept it together.
Edward, did you realise that Robert had this crush on you?
No, not at all.
Oh, you must have done.
What a lovely evening this is for you, then. Thank you very much, Edward.
Very nice to see you.
Which brings us to our final round, quickfire lies, and we start with... It's David.
10 years ago, on this show, I revealed I'd only ever bought one album, Phil Collins' But Seriously. I'm now pleased to report that I've since doubled my collection.
Please, team.
What's the album? What's the new album?
It's... Well, I didn't... It doesn't say on there. I can't remember the name
Can't
of it.
remember the name of the only other album you bought.
I know the artiste.
What's the artist?
It was Susan Boyle's.
Why would you buy a Susan Boyle record? With the greatest of respect to Susan, why would you choose her?
Well, because it was, you know, it was much talked about
Yeah.
at the time of its release, and I was looking for something to write about.
You've not got that journalist job at the NME still, have you, David?
No, for the Observer.
Can you remember the name of any of the songs?
No, but
Wow!
But wait. I could guess a lot of the songs because they weren't. I don't think she'd written the songs.
We were talking
They were
about it
songs
earlier,
that
weren't we? You said your favourite was I Dreamed a Dream.
Can you just give us a rendition of that? Can you hum that or sing that or something?
Can I hum I
Yes,
Dreamed a Dream?
yes.
I don't think you can because we'd have to pay then, so it'd be inappropriate. So
Sorry,
you mustn't.
he's very experienced
So
in
sorry.
TV.
That's
Well, I'll
annoying.
tell you what,
Because
David,
would've
I
liked
He
will
learned
tell
from the
you-
best, Tony Verrill.
Yeah.
David, I will tell you the names of
Yeah.
some of Susan's album releases, or escapes more than releases. And you tell me if any of them ring a bell, OK?
Okay.
The Gift.
I don't know.
A Wonderful World.
I reckon that might have been on there.
No, this is the album title.
Oh, sorry. The album title?
Yes. Was
Oh, no,
the
no,
album title
I
The Gift?
I promise you, the
Wonderful
album
World.
title is not going to ring a bell.
But first-
because for me, it was the Susan Boyle album.
OK, you can't remember the name of the album, you can't remember the name of any of the songs.
Yeah.
Can you remember how you felt listening to it?
My recollection is I felt it was fine.
Fine.
What's it going to be, Lee? Time to guess.
You're saying it's a
Nah.
lie?
No, I actually think it's true.
It's true.
Yes, I'm with Denise, just about.
OK.
OK, going to say true.
True, yeah.
OK, David, truth or lie?
It is true.
Wow.
Yes, it's true. David has indeed doubled his music collection. Next, it's Catherine.
I was ticked off by the headmaster after I mistakenly packed a pina colada in my daughter's lunchbox for a school trip.
Whoa.
Please, Tim.
Wow. Oh, what did you think it was?
What did you think it was?
Well, they have these lovely, really lovely, like frozen packs for the freezer, and you just take them out and squeeze them out. It's like a little frozen, but they really look juicy. I thought it was just a little juice.
Are you thinking of fruit shoots and things like that?
No. I'll tell you the name. Do you want to know the brand name of it?
Yes, I do.
Capri Sun.
Oh, the fruit drink in a pouch?
Delicious.
Love them. So why did you think that it was anything else? Because you were the one that bought it.
Yeah, because I just buy lots of stuff for the fridge. I just grabbed it because I'm not with it in the morning because I've been having pina coladas the night before.
What did the person at school? Did you get a telephone call or were you invited in?
Oh, I was mudded in on
Where?
this
And what did they
occasion.
say?
Hello, your daughter's drunk.
Yeah.
No,
She has 6 year olds wasted again.
she didn't drink it. She knew right away what it was. It wasn't for her.
Did she report you?
Yeah.
Oh, she's a grass.
She's such a grass. She tells people, my mummy hides wine in the walls. But
In the
that's
walls?
a wine rack.
Oh, I see.
But they have a problem with me anyway.
Why?
Why?
They've met her.
Well, yeah, they've met me. That's number one. I do the school run in a bathrobe.
No.
Oh.
What?
One of those. Really?
You go to school in a bathrobe.
Yes, because
What have you got under the bathrobe?
none of your business.
So, talk us through now. You've gone into the school. They've called you in to the headmaster or headmistress's office. What happens?
And they just said, I suppose you thought you were being funny. And I said, I'm sorry, what was funny? And they said, you know what you thought was funny. And I said, no, I
They
really
spoke
don't
to
know.
you like that, a parent.
Yeah, you should see my fresh look. They think I'm 16, that's the other problem.
Who does?
The faculty. I
How
don't know.
sympathetic was this lighting? Was it sort of...
Don't you find that
We've been doing this show 11 years. That's the most catty thing that's ever been done.
So, Catherine, he says to you, what do you think you were doing? What happened then?
He had the pina colada in his desk drawer and said it's not funny to send your daughter on a school trip with alcohol.
Wow.
What do you think, truth or lie?
I could see her doing it.
Yes.
I really could see you doing it, Catherine.
Thanks.
But I think it's a lie.
So basically, you don't think this particular incident is true, but she possibly is an alcoholic.
I think it's most certainly a lie.
OK, well, my
You're
team
gonna say
seems
it's
to think
a
it's a
lie?
lie, so we'll say lie.
OK, Catherine, truth or lie?
Nah, it is a lie.
Oh.
Yes, it's a lie. Catherine didn't put a pina colada in her daughter's lunchbox. Well, that noise signals time is up. It's the end of the show. And I can reveal that Lee's team have won by 4 points to 1. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Good night.